Hi, welcome to improvisation course. In this class, we'll be discussing the introduction to improvisation.
All right, guys, improvisation. That's everything we talk about when we get to the intermediate class. Improvisation is something that every saxophonist need to really master, because that is where the major part of your usefulness or your assignment as a saxophonist, that is where it is. If you are in a band, you have to be able to play with every other band members. You have to be able to fit into the band. If you are to fit into the band and there is a lead vocalist, most likely you are not the lead vocalist. So you have to be able to play something that is different from just playing the song. So while they are singing, you as a saxophonist or as a solo instrumentalist, you have to be able to put in one or two skills or fills that that just complement what the choir or the band is playing. So, and sometimes you now get to a point you are allowed to play an interlude of the song that have just been played or sung. Now that is not the time to play the song straight. That is the time to add a lot of things into the song that still sound as though you are still playing the song, but so many creativity comes in. Improvisation is that place where your creativity as a saxophonist is tested, and you have to prove yourself as a skilled. That's where skills come in. That's where the difference is coming. She can play Amazing Grace in a different style. I am supposed to play the same Amazing Grace. I can now begin to play that same song in a different thing. That's all about improvisation. So what is improvisation? Improvisation is improvising a song or improvising a solo. You are either improvising a song or you are just improvising and grooving over certain chord changes that is still within the music that is being played. So that's improvisation. So it is composing at the spot. You are not told to play. You already know the song. It's like this, it's like this, it's like this. But when I'm to improvise a song, I'm not necessarily following any pattern. I'm just creatively creating my own content or melodies out of the melody, guided by the melody of the song, in a creative way, and spontaneous and instantaneous, like that. So it's a stage composition. So it's something. But the fact that we are just composing on the spot does not mean that we don't know exactly what we are doing. We have tools that guide us. The chord is there, scales are there, some pre-programmed licks are there, fills are there, passing note is there, and that is what we want to discuss generally. So for you to be able to improvise, there are things you have to know. There are tools you have to know. You have to understand chordal improvisation, which is where you use the chord of the song to play the song. Under this chordal improvisation, we begin to talk about arpeggio. Arpeggio is when you as the saxophonist play the notes of the chord as part of your improvisation for that song. Now, another aspect of chordal improvisation that we're going to discuss in the intermediate class is landing note. Landing note is when you play a song and you land in a note that is not the roots of that chord. You want to use the note of the melody and descend into or land properly into the right notes that fit into the chord of that song. That's how I classify it under chordal improvisation. So these are things I'm going to be discussing in this improvisation course. As far as chordal improvisation is concerned, you have to understand chord progression and how to flow with using the arpeggio and landing notes to add fills into what you are improvising or blending into the choir and complementing whatever they are doing, just filling in the gaps for the choir or the lead vocalist. So then we now take it to the scalar improvisation. Under the scalar improvisation, that is when we're going to be talking about your scales. Major scale will come back, pentatonic scale will come back majorly. We'll take these two scales, begin to permutate it all over again, and then this time around put on some metronome so that we can articulate it into beat. After that, we use those scale permutations to improvise as part of your improvisation. So when you are improvising, you now begin to use scale permutations to fill in the gaps, to add colors. Another aspect of scale improvisation is when I begin to give you pre-planned lines that we have gotten from mentors that have been generalized. Everybody, things that form part, that become so part of us, out of what we listen to. We bring out those licks and then we give them to you to also practice in those particular scale. One, licks are going to help you to master your scale very well and how to apply your scale, not just playing it straight. So these are the things we're going to discuss. We're going to be discussing scalar improvisation. Under this scalar improvisation, I'm going to be talking about pentatonic licks, diatonic licks, and then fills, all the things. So we're going to give you licks that you're going to practice and fix them wherever you have those spaces that you want to fill in. Under scalar improvisation, I'm going to talk about passing note. Passing note is, let's assume I'm in a song and I'm on mi, and the next note of that song is do. I don't just want to jump from that mi to do. I want to pass into that do. So I'll play mi fa sol la ti do. That is, so when we begin to take it gradually, we begin to understand practically how this is not something you just cram or something not everybody's improvising and you're wondering, how can I improvise? These are tools that once you understand them, you begin to use them. Now I've told you arpeggio under chordal improvisation. Pass splitting, I forgot to mention, pass splitting is under chordal improvisation because the parts, when you are playing a melody, every melody has a chord. Now that chord usually is made up of 3 notes, and that 3 notes form the tenor part, the alto part, and the soprano part of a choir. Now you as a saxophonist, you will use those parts and move from one part to another, and then use the parts to as a tool for improvisation. For example, when a key is too high for a singer, you notice that they will switch over to a part, and that switching over to a part becomes part of improvisation of that song. Then thereafter we'll talk about note duplication. Note duplication is just how to duplicate notes and use it as part of your improvisation. Under that, we begin to talk about repetition, where you have people improvising. You get to a point, start playing one note, a specific notes like that. You go as part of your improvisation. Echo is when you echo the song as the choir is singing. So you steal, or let me use the word steal. You steal from what the lead vocalist or the melody of the song that the choir is singing, and you echo it as part of your fills or filling in the gaps for those songs. So that is all about we are going to be discussing in this course called improvisation. So improvisation is just composing your songs and adding creativity, using the melody, the chords, and then every other tool that we're going to discuss to creatively deliver that song, either as an interlude during a performance or as a solo, jazz entertainment, or as filling in the gaps when you are playing in a band. That's all about the course, and it forms the 90% of, or let me just say, it forms 70% of all you are going to be doing as a saxophonist that is performing on stage, wherever, either in a band or as you leading the band. Let's imagine you are also leading a band and you have a backup. You play the song, they are now singing it. What are you supposed to do? That's what we call ad-libbing. You're supposed to be able to use your sax and ad-lib the song, fill in the gaps, and use it to lead a song. You can even use saxophone to lead a whole worship session or a whole praise session. This is where creativity comes in. And then thank God for the tools. It's not something you're going to be shooting in the dark. You're going to understand these tools step by step, and then you inculcate them into your solos, and then you're going to you start enjoying yourself. One of the reasons why students are usually discouraged is when they are stuck of and short of ideas. You play one song over and over, and then it's always the same thing. Your play is almost predictable, and so on and so forth. So when you understand these tools, you will not be short of ideas. You always have an idea to play, and because there are many, you will not be predictable, and then you can confidently join a band after you have passed through this kind of course. Thank you for joining us. In the next class, I'm going to start from chordal improvisation. We will talk about chord progressions and how you will flow along using chord progressions as a tool, how you're going to use past landing notes and arpeggio,
Yeah.
and thereafter we'll take it from there. All right, Verasax, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.